Wow. I was just discussing with my husband. Today's conversation is perception. I was just discussing with my husband about how we see things. And for this conversation, I thought about me. Looking at me sitting down here, if you're watching this, there are different interpretations of who I am just by your perception. Some of you will see me and say, "This girl does not know Christ the all." Someone will see me and say, "Ah, she's classy, she's funky." Someone will say, "This one is too wild. How did she manage at home?" The same look, but three or four different perceptions, depending on your background, your religion, your culture, or your understanding of life. So, welcome to today's conversation. It's your girl Angel. I'm here with my husband.
And I'm rich, and none of you is wrong. Your perceptions.
I think
We are
no.
not correct too.
No.
Not fully correct.
When you say none of us is wrong, when you say so,
No, you can think whatever you want to think, but the reality of the situation
and so
hits
the
at you.
so the right word is not that none of you is wrong, because you've not met the person. When you say the perception, okay, let me give you another example that, well, welcome first of all again to today's conversation. It's all about perception. This is Relationship Clinic with my husband Rich and myself Angie. One key thing before we begin is subscribe. It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Share if you enjoyed today's conversation. We also want to remind that we're on social media handles, different social media handles. We have Facebook and Instagram, Keeping Marriage Alive, Twitter Alive KMA, and of course you can send us a chat because we're available to cancel for a fee, and it goes +2347088765212. I repeat again, +2347088765212. Hope to hear from you. So we're back to today's conversation. My husband and I were talking about, looking at me now, what do you see? I said, "This girl is fine, classy." Someone said, "Hey, the devils are there, oh, wildfire is real." You know me? And my husband said something, he said, "None of us are wrong." And I beg to differ, because
And none of them are right too.
I beg to differ, because why I said that is that the first thing we do is when we see something, we see from where we are coming from. The question is, have you given that thing a chance to show you what they really are? So what do you have to say?
Yes, you need to draw closer and interact with whatever you're seeing to be sure. Two people can look at something and have different opinions. That's allowed, but when you go closer and look at it, you now see the whole bigger picture, which is the perfect thing that's going on.
And why we need to look at our perception is because, I remember when my mother-in-law met me for the first time. For God's sake, you think I'm looking flashy or whatever people think, because I have heard many people mention different things. But what I was on a red dress, red hair, red nails, mini skirts. So even if looking at it now as a mother, if you bring that kind of girl to the home, my son is at the back end here smiling. He's the one in charge of this recording, and just imagine, and he comes and say, "Mom, I'm in love." As much as I'm even an open-minded person, first thing I'll say, "What?" But after saying what, do I step back and say, "Okay, so after this, what next? Can I get to know this person?" There are many times we have judged people by simply their look. Look does matter. There's sometimes we judge people by how people have made us perceive them. Maybe. So what do you have to say?
It just comes down to settling down and giving the person the benefit of doubt. Interact with the person, give time. You can't just see something and just say, "That's it." No. No, nobody knows that. You really need to interact more and give time.
That's true. When my husband and I got married, and for all the married men, women, this is for us. I remember when we got married and my husband comes home and shares an idea. And I say, "Maybe I think this idea might not work like this, or it's wrong." I remember my husband used to believe that I was, maybe I'd say, how do you used to feel like?
Yeah, it felt like as if we were challenging or trying to say what I was saying was wrong. But looking at it from hindsight now, it's not bad. Everybody has their opinion, but you just have to hear the person out and harmonize it. Or even, you can discuss about it. It's not even bad to argue or question something. In fact, that's the whole essence of this session today, that you check your perception. Check your perception yourself. Is that the right perception?
Just like my husband and I too. When my husband found it difficult to question what I was doing. But real relationships are strengthened by how we say, I don't see it the way you're seeing it. Can we come to a place where we can see clearly? And most of our marriages are based, rather, sorry for that, are based on our personal perception. There is what we call God's plan and purpose for marriage. Then we all come with our different perceptions.
Yes, what we think marriage should be and how it should run, and to our favor. Meanwhile, it's not so.
So we get married and your perception, maybe the man gets married, the perception is that he's going to have a wife. There are some of these jokes that we say online, that my wife is always saying this is wrong or right. But in relationship, shouldn't we be able to say, celebrate us when we've done right, and say no when we've done wrong? Really part of it?
Yes, it's a double mix. Encourage, say no, put a stop to it.
Exactly.
We must have check and balances in life. There is check and balances, and it's reality of life.
So in our journey as a couple and as counselors, we've come to realize that sometimes our perception of what marriage should be and what kind of spouse we should marry usually affects our relationship.
And for the guys, that your wife does not see it the way you see it, it's not any big deal. It's not bringing down. This is where you have to keep your ego in check. It's not an ego drive or an ego trip. Listen to what she is saying, he or she is saying.
Exactly.
What is it exactly that the person is trying to point out? Then reason along that line. Just check your perception. It must not be right. You don't know everything. Nobody knows everything,
Exactly.
And she is there to compliment you, to help you. It could be a blind spot you're looking at. If I were to look at this bag now, I'm looking at it from this side, I'll tell you, there's a shade of this. You're seeing it from that side, you can't see that shade.
They can't see the bag. Do I bring it closer for them to see?
No need. Just picture it in your mind.
No, let me help you.
From one side.
Don't worry, let me help you. So this is the bag my husband was talking about. So what do you see? Me over to you, back to you.
Yes. I'm seeing it from this side. There's a gray.
Yes.
That's not black.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from here, then you can't see that. And if you're telling me, I'm telling you there's a handle here. I say there's no handle. And we're arguing back and forth. We will remain like that till I turn this and I now see this.
So, but how do you turn it? You have to first of all understand that your perception is not the only perception.
Yes.
And that for our marriage to win, our relationship to win, we need to sit down and dialogue till we get to a place where both of us can understand what each other is saying and can work with it.
Yes.
And I think that's where vision comes in. When we say we have a vision as a couple, we shouldn't just say we have a vision. We should look at it and say, okay, this vision, do we both understand it? Because I remember when my husband and I got married, I said, my husband, I want us to build a close-knit family. He said yes. But my other perception of close-knit was different from my close-knit. Close-knit for me, what was your perception of close-knit family?
Close-knit. You're in the room, I'm in the room. Are we close enough? Do you have to enter my skin? Close enough to interact, but not too close to interfere. I didn't understand that. I was naive then, but I didn't know.
Yes.
God really meant one flesh, and He meant one flesh to me. In the reality, you have to keep merging, rub up on each other's skin, get even deeper if possible, but not by force,
Yes,
it's by willingness and gradual process.
So imagine when we both had agreed in our marriage for getting married that we wanted to build a close-knit family. So my husband's ideology is we have children together, we share the room like co-tenants, maybe a little bit closer because we pay bills together. But for me, I felt we have to be friends. I could come home and say, Mimi, this is how my day was. I expected him to empathize with me. I wanted us to say, okay, this is how much I have in my account, this is how much you have, this is a project. And our perceptions, the same word, close-knit, but our perception and definition of close-knit was totally different. And so we had to continuously discuss for some years before we could come to a place where we are. I don't think we've gotten the perfect act, but we are
heading there.
We're heading there. So when you say I'm in love, even as couples, it means different things for different people. Your love language affects the perception. Your culture affects the perception. When you say you're thriving, some people can say they're thriving and your success history is like 100 million. Someone's success history might be 1 billion. So and you're wondering why is your spouse not happy that you're thriving, but in their mind of thriving and success is above yours.
Yes, look at it that you're just scratching the level. So we must give room for growth, for improvement. I must carry the other person along. Allow the person to understand what you're even saying, to see it and internalize it, so to say, and be able to walk with you along that path. It's very important.
So someone will say, so how do we get, because oneness is affected by perception.
Yeah.
So how do we get our perception to a place that both of us are able to even see? Perception is seeing, and we're like, one of us is like one eye. When two of us now come together and work in sync, two eyes, imagine having your two eyes working. It's quite different from having one eye working.
Yes.
So, and for us, in conversations, I think the first thing we must agree, there are key things to help perception, as in tally your perception, is ask why. Why am I even sticking to this? You know, why? Because as some people that, as I said earlier, if you're looking at me now, there are different perceptions of understanding of who I am. So let me crack a joke. Maybe we were not in that meeting. Someone said, you know, I don't want my wife to be wearing nails and makeup because people are wild. Women that wear that are wild. And I'm telling her, counselor, talk to my wife. And I'm looking at myself. I'm on the color, I'm on the nails, and I'm saying, did you know he didn't catch what just happened there? So he had already said this is how a woman should be. Or he's coming to me for an advice from a woman that looks like what he told the wife not to be. So is that not a perception issue? What do you have to say?
I was colorblind.
I didn't see that one coming. I think he was colorblind.
It must have been.
White, not to,
Yeah.
you know, and it plays out. So you see a man who maybe wears chain, and maybe your concept of a man that wears chain is wild, or maybe he's on dreads. And there's a perception.
Yeah.
Now you could, and the world even has a perception. They feel if you're on these things, you're wild. So, and you see a man who is on low cut, you don't know he's trying to fit it. But does it mean that the man is really who those things are? Now, does it mean that we shouldn't work on ourselves? Yes, we should. And at least
continuously.
Yes. Even in our way of dressing, to not to give people the wrong impression.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't judge people just by how we dress. We shouldn't judge people because of cultural differences, you know. So because maybe my religion speaks that I should cover, then you don't cover. I now feel that you don't understand the rudiments of life. We actually have many things in common more than we know.
Yes. And most importantly, your mind must not be fixed. Give room, open your mind a bit, give allowance, take things, give benefit of doubt. Let me even see this person. That should attract us. Something might be wrong, but look at it properly.
Oh God, heaven, Father Lord.
You might very well be the one that is wrong.
Yeah.
Your perception might very well be the one that is wrong. And you learn, that will be a learning experience for you.
And we learn everything.
Yes.
Let me give you one story before we give you 3 things that you need to work with to help perception as a couple or you're dating. Please share, this is very key. One of the things, I went for a meeting some years ago, and the pastor that was preaching that day, and it was our Wafbeg preaching in Covenant, and it was Pastor 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻, and he went and he said, the first thing you should deal with is your health. And I didn't get it. He said there are 7 things you should take care of, and the most important is your health. I was quite younger then, and I felt you didn't talk about yourself, you didn't talk about the family, you didn't talk about why your health, you know, and I couldn't understand the weight of what he said. Fast forward 5-7 years later, I understand that if you need to walk in the kingdom, if you need to finish strong, your health should be priority. But as of 4-5-7 years ago, it wasn't what
the importance in that way.
Yes, because as you grow younger or age, as people say, but I like saying grow younger, begin to value the essence of being healthy to do the work that you've been called. So there are some things that you disagree with now, that down the line you understand that because they have gone through a different experience,
yes.
That's why their perception of it is different.
Yes. And it's just like the tale of shoes. When you're younger, you want to wear the latest shoe, tight fitting, curved, all those kind of things. When you get to them, you want to wear comfortable shoes. You I'm not giving you any stress.
I am
You
telling
don't want
you.
to care whether it's the latest or not. Just comfortable that will make you function properly.
So function becomes your fashion.
Yes.
Even as I am now, I'm still fashion conscious, but comfort is priority.
Yes.
I no longer wear my 6 inches. Who knew me earlier? I can literally wear low shoes and I don't care if I'm short or not. So why did we share this? Some of us get into marriage and we're saying you're the problem. Maybe it's your perception that is the problem. So and you say, solve the problem. Maybe it's just two of you coming together and saying, this is our perception that we are holding so tightly. Can we let it be and say, okay, what are you saying? And then be careful enough to share, not assume the person understands what you're saying. Share in simplicity. If you have a 3-year-old child and you have a 12-year-old child, your interaction with them is different. A 3-year-old child, okay, 12-year-old child, go to the table and get me that cooler. The child goes there and gets you that cooler. You send the 3-year-old child, you have to say, if you go to the table, on top of that table, there is a blue and red cooler. That's to guide the child to get what you want. So in our sharing of our perceptions, we shouldn't assume that the person understands what we're saying. We should share our perceptions simply without judgment. Because when two of us now come together on the table, we might realize that what we were holding were half-truths. And together it becomes the full truth.
And if you say it in judgment, the other person raises up their wall.
Yes.
They won't even hear what you're saying.
Yes.
It's like you're accusing the person. The person is raising up his wall already. You're already judging.
Yes.
But if you say it in a pleasant way, the way we won't say it is crucial.
It's very crucial.
You allow people to open up their mind and all that. It's just like a tale of a couple. Say, my husband is always telling me what to do. What if what he has been telling is the real truth?
Wow.
It's right.
Wow. Or vice versa.
Yes, or vice versa. Yeah.
Your wife's always telling you that.
What to do. What if what she's saying is the right thing to do, really? What's so wrong about that? Yes, her approach could have been a bit, out of place, but she's telling you the right thing.
Or he's telling you
the right thing. Do it. Learn something from there and move on.
Oh, before we round up, I just want to remind you, this is Keepingmarriagealive Initiative and his relationship clinic with your girl Angie and my husband
Rich.
And we are discussing perception. Subscribe, share with friends, comment. This encourages us to know that what we are sharing is meaningful and is blessing you. And don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. Facebook and Instagram is Keepingmarriagealive. Twitter is AliveKMA. And of course, you can reach us on our private chat, WhatsApp chat, +2347088765212. I repeat again, +2347088765212. Hope to hear from you. And if you have any conversations, questions, do share them. Maybe any last words for people dealing with perception issues?
Check your perception. You really need to check it. In fact, when someone has another alternative perception, just listen and check it out. Does that work? Listen, check it out. What you know, you already know. What someone else tells you, you could learn from it.
Yes.
Don't be too fast to judge it or shut it down. No.
Especially in marriage. We really take each other for granted, so we stop listening.
Yes.
And assume that the person has no other thing to bring to the table. May we not allow our ego affect our perception. Remember that as much as you know, there is always more to learn, as my husband has said. So the first question is, remember to ask why when there are difference of opinion. Number 2, listen to the other person's answer or feedback. Then weigh what you have honestly. And if you disagree, maybe wait to 2 or more people to have a clearer picture.
Yes. You must not take a decision then and then.
Exactly.
Look back at it and say, this thing you're saying, or even ask for more clarification. I still don't understand how this plays.
Exactly. And number 3, remember that we are all different, but together, when we share each other's ideas, we become better and more purposeful as a union. Remember, this is about union. Finally, I will leave you with a joke, Mimi. That's my final word for everybody here. My friend called me, my former PA. She said, "Auntie, this girl can't cook. Auntie, this girl can't cook." I said, what is it? She said, she made Gary and she turns the Gary. Who turns Gary? Who turns Gary? I said, because in my mind, I turn Gary in my house. And that is their idea. Because we are so used to our pattern of life that we assume is the only way. And I said to her, in my house we turn Gary. She says, "They lie." I I said, yes. He said, no, in the house, don't talk dirty. I said, and see. So even when you invite someone into your life, you have to learn each other's culture.
Yes.
And as couples, build your own culture. And remember that even with your culture, there are many more cultures.
Yes.
But the foundational goal should never be lost. To become one. To see life together. And grow as one in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, hey, hey. Don't touch that dial. We have an announcement. Our singles arm is celebrating. They have an event coming up. Love School Singles Hangout holds on the 23rd of July this month, 2 p.m. And yes, it's in Festac, Lagos. Be part of this, join, and yes, there will be a mixed version, a hybrid version for those in and out of the country or want to just participate that are not close by. But if you're around, sign up. Sign up by dialing +2347088765212. Send the chat +2347088765212. And we'll be glad to send you a ticket. It is free, but registration is compulsory, and registration ends exactly a week from today. So I hope to see you. And before you stop or change the channel, don't forget to buy the book, the Couples Manual Book, 2 Sides of the Story. Is it?
Bye.